right. Tyrone Bowman Live, welcome to the program. Let's get right down to it. White South Africans turned down Trump's immigration officer. So here is a summary so far. Trump offers to resettle white South Africans in the U.S. South Africans' land reform policy, one of the contentious issues. South Africa's Ramaphosa has defended the land reform law. U.S. President Donald Trump's offer to rehouse white South Africans as refugees fleeing persecution may not spark quite the rush he anticipates, as even right-wing white lobby groups want to tackle the injustices of black majority rule on home soil. Trump on Friday signed an executive order to cut U.S. aid to South Africa, citing an expropriation act that President Cyril Ramaphosa signed last month, aiming to redress land inequities that stem from South Africa's history of white supremacy. What is the issue? Africans were in Africa long before white people came there. Let me say that again. Africans were in Africa long before white people came to Africa. It was nothing but cruelty, injustice, war, ethnic cleansing, and slavery that they were able to gain majority rule. Apartheid only ended in South Africa because had Nelson Mandela not been released from prison, it was going to be an all-out civil war in South Africa. And the regime that was ruling under apartheid knew at that time the injustices that Mandela, an African-trained lawyer, and the ANC suffered. What were they in prison for? For standing up for what was rightfully theirs as native Africans. How are you going to deny individuals the rights and the freedoms that they deserve in their own homeland because you think their white superiority and dominancy is supposed to take place because you say so? Black people have a right to live on this earth like anyone else. We have a right to freedom. We have a right to prosperity and productivity like anybody else. We have a right to live in peace and in harmony. The only people who are imposing upon the rights are those who claim acts of injustice. So let's get back to this. Trump on Friday signed an executive order to cut U.S. aid to South Africa, citing an expropriation act that President Cyril Ramaphosa signed last month, aiming to redress land inequities that stem from South Africa's history of white supremacy. The order provided for resettlement in the U.S. of Afrikaners in South Africa who are victims of unjust racial discrimination as refugees. What? How are white people being discriminated against? This reverse racism tactic is not going to work. It's anti-blackness that is on parade in America and around the world. And even in America, white people are claiming to be discriminated against. By whom? By other white people? Because black people are tired. We're tired of white supremacy. We're tired of them thinking because of the pigmentation of our skin that we're less than equal, than we're less than human beings. I oftentimes tell black people, stop begging white people for their acceptance. Know who you are. Know your self-worth. Know your history. Be proud of your ancestors. And fight to maintain your heritage. Fight to build wealth. Fight to build generational wealth. So that in generations to come, long after we're off this earth, those who come behind us don't have to suffer the injustices that many of us have to deal with right now. It's a darn shame that in 2025, we're still dealing with civil rights issues, injustice, and racism and bigotry in America. In 2025, it makes no sense. And then when people stand up and fight for what is just and right, they got a nerve to get angry. Why? For what purpose? There's just much crime and pilferage in the white community as in the black community. White pigmentation is not any better than black pigmentation. The color of blood is red. And too many people are sitting by cowardly and not standing up for what is right and for what is just. Wake up. Black Africans have the right to live in peace and harmony in the motherland. And the only reason why white people want to come over to Africa is because they want Africa's natural resources. That's it. So Afrikaners are mostly white descendants of early Dutch and French settlers. Notice, settlers who own most of the country's farmland. That means they weren't born there. They came there. If you hadn't gotten any problems here, why would you want to go, said Neville van der Merwe, a 78-year-old pensioner in Bath Saginaw near Cape Town. Watch the movie Shaka Zulu, one they don't like to talk about. Check out Shaka Zulu. There hasn't been any really bad taking over our land. The people are carrying on like normal, and you know, what are you going to do over there? The law seeks to adjust racial land ownership disparities, which has left 3/4 of privately owned land in the hands of the white minority by making it easier for the state to expropriate land in the public interest. One of the things that President Nelson Mandela should have done when he was alive, you should have made sure that your people were taken care of and not allow them to be displaced in the ghettos of Soweto. Ramaphosa has defended the policy. White people represent 72% of South Africa's population of 63 million people. Statistics agency data shows the data does not break down how many are Afrikaner. South Africa's British rulers handed most farmland to whites. In 1950, the apartheid-era National Party seized 85% of the land, forcing 3.5 black million people from their homes. That's called ethnic cleansing in your own country. Ramaphosa's African National Congress, known as the ANC, the biggest party in the ruling coalition, says Trump is amplifying misinformation propagated by AfroForum, an Afrikaner-led group. Of course, anytime individuals stand up and fight for themselves, they always want to be called troublemakers. Then, damn it, then troublemakers we are then. The group which lobbied Trump's previous administration on their cause said it was not taking up the offer. Immigration only offers an opportunity for Afrikaners who are willing to risk potentially sacrificing their descendants' cultural identity as Afrikaners. The price for that is simply too high, AfroForum CEO Callie Curl said on Saturday. People can coexist in Africa peacefully. Separately, the Solidarity Movement, which includes AfroForum and Solidarity Trade Union, said it represents about 600,000 Afrikaner families and 2 million individuals express commitment to South Africa. We may disagree with the ANC, but we love our country. As in any community, there are individuals who wish to immigrate. But repatriation of Afrikaners as refugees is not a solution for us, the movement said. Representatives of Orana, an Afrikaner-only enclave in the heart of the community, also rejected Trump's offer. Afrikaners do not want to be refugees. We love and we are committed to our homeland, Orania said. South Africa's land policy since the end of apartheid have never involved forced seizure of white-owned land. And that is true. Still, some say they appreciate Trump's offer. I think it's a very nice gesture from Donald Trump to offer us asylum over there, said Warner Van Lekert, 57, a carpenter in Botsig, without saying whether he would be migrating to America. Others saw the funny side. Some question is there a test to determine your Afrikanership? Must you hold an AfroForum membership? Will Elon help with some startup cash on the other side? Are there backies or pickup trucks in the U.S.? Author Pierre Du Toit wrote on X, referring to South African-born billionaire and Trump aide Elon Musk. It's a lot to think about. Know who you are and stand up for your people. Stand up for your ancestors. There's nothing wrong with, listen, if Trump can continue to hold up the white power salute every time he's before the camera, then you better be darn proud of black pride. And stop making people think that there's something wrong saying I'm black and I'm proud. Never surrender. Never quit.